it!
Mario Kart always struck me as a franchise that should have been perfected a long time ago. When you look at other Nintendo franchises, they're almost constantly evolving, sometimes to their detriment. Proper Star Fox, how I miss thee. But not Mario Kart. After more than 20 years, the modern Mario Kart is still, at its heart, the original Super Nintendo game. That's not to say Mario Kart doesn't change, of course, but that sometimes feels like part of a different problem. Even though one Mario Kart might contain the perfect implementation of a specific feature, it's never guaranteed to stay that way. Nintendo's always tweaking knobs, shifting scales, but never fundamentally revamping the franchise, a la what Super Mario 64 was to Super Mario World. In a number of ways, that's actually really good, but it makes it difficult to shake the feeling that, even 10 years from now, we'll still not have gotten the ultimate rendition of Mario Kart that it feels like Nintendo could so easily make if they actually wanted to. With that in mind, Mario Kart 8 is a pretty great, if somewhat lacking version of one of those games. Mario Kart 8's big hook this time around is its gravity-defying race courses that twist in and around, allowing you to easily drive up the sides of walls and across the ceiling, not unlike a certain forgotten Nintendo racing franchise by the name of F-Zero. Much like Mario Kart 7's ability for karts to race underwater and glide through the sky, this doesn't make a significant difference in how you play the game. The shift happens so seamlessly that you might not even realize that you're driving upside down. It mainly seems to be there to unleash track designers to go beyond regular race courses and take things to the extreme, with tracks that go up waterfalls and across dams. Again, it's more about tweaking knobs. It's not a revolution, and you might not always notice anything's changed, but it still keeps things interesting regardless. The new gravity mechanic does have a bonus side effect, however. For one whole console generation, the weapon balance in Mario Kart has most definitely skewed in the direction of unpredictable chaos. Anyone who's ever played Mario Kart Wii knows that it can seem impossible to hold on to an item for more than a few seconds before some unblockable Uber attack wipes you out and forces you to drop everything. It was more of a crazy party game than something that rewarded highly skilled driving. That's not to say you can't win in Mario Kart Wii by pure driving skill alone. I've seen plenty of expert drivers online with unshakable winning streaks. But for the mid-range driver who is neither bad at Mario Kart nor excellent, you get trapped into this limbo where it feels like you're constantly being robbed of deserved victories just because of a bad dice roll. After a certain point, the difficulty curve goes 90% straight up, and the gap between being above average at the game and good feels almost impossible to bridge. With Mario Kart 8's new gravity mechanic, the track frequently splits into two completely separate paths. Left and right walls, ceiling and floor, that sort of thing. What this ultimately means is that unless everybody all specifically chooses to go in the same direction, you have far fewer racers to deal with, and, by proxy, far fewer opportunities to fall on the bad side of the random number generator. Even with 12 racers on the track, you are usually provided ample breathing room to focus more on simply running a good race. That's also in part because items themselves have been rebalanced to be a little more strategic. Red shells are no longer the all-powerful homing missile they once were, and if you're far enough out of the way when one passes, it won't even target you. Many more tracks seem specifically designed to have cutoff points where shells and other items are not allowed to pass. Even the infamous blue shells have a hard counter now. This is a kinder, less random Mario Kart that is, at the same time, still fiercely competitive. Mario Kart was, of course, born from Nintendo wanting to create a two-player version of F-Zero on the Super Nintendo, so the game's always had strong multiplayer roots. This is no different in Mario Kart 8, which contains perhaps the most seamless integration of online multiplayer that any Nintendo game's ever had. It's still not quite up to par with the likes of Steam or Xbox Live, because I don't think there's any formal method of sending game invites, but as far as being able to see who's playing and getting into their game, it's about as easy as you could hope for. You can even take a friend with you online, though for whatever reason, off-TV multiplayer isn't supported. Mario Kart 8 only offers up traditional split screen, eschewing letting the other player use the Gamepad as an impromptu second TV. In fact, Gamepad integration in general is surprisingly poor. Players can choose to mirror what's on the TV, view a minimap, or honk the horn using the touchscreen. When Nintendo announced the initiative to make better use of the Wii U's Gamepad, that clearly did not retroactively apply to Mario Kart. If you're like me, you usually spend a significant amount of time in the game's single-player mode, and it's here Mario Kart's starting to feel a little dated. Compared to some of its competition, Mario Kart 8 comes up short in a lot of very important features. In other kart racers like Blur or Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, you're offered a pretty lengthy campaign with a large variety of different mission types that test your driving skills. Mario Kart 8 returns to the well-worn path of 8 Grand Prix Cups at 4 difficulty levels, and that's basically all there is. If you've played any Mario Kart in the past, this part is completely unchanged. The same wimpy CPU AI, the same scoring system, the same everything. To be fair, there is a rating system tied to each cup, so if you really wanted to, you could make it a personal goal to get a 3-star rating in every Grand Prix. But even that feels too easy, as star ratings gotten in higher difficulties also apply retroactively to lower difficulties. For example, a 3-star rating in a cup in 150cc will also automatically net you the same rating in both 100cc and 50cc. You could, in theory, see everything this game has to offer and get a perfect score in all the cups in less than 2 hours. You would be doing a huge disservice to the game's multiplayer offerings, but the fact still stands that Mario Kart 8 just isn't as robust as its competition. It's weird, because I would expect that the campaign modes and other competing kart racers were born out of trying to achieve feature parity with Mario Kart DS, a game that did feature an extended mission mode. Why that mission mode did not carry forward into future Mario Kart games is a total mystery, and its absence in Mario Kart 8 is felt more than ever before. If you've cleared every cup in single player, there's always Mario Kart 8's time trial mode, but it's here that Nintendo's old lack of understanding comes back to haunt them. What was probably intended to be an elegant, unique way to represent time trial rankings instead turns into a confusing mess of weird-looking bar graphs and obscured leaderboards. What's worse is that Mario Kart 7 got a lot of this stuff right. Every track would display a familiar leaderboard, giving you an idea of where you placed among other racers, and could automatically select a number of replays for you to compete against in your run. Mario Kart 8's time trial mode, for whatever bizarre reason, opens with a nearly empty bar graph with a single point for a lone Nintendo staff record. The only way to map other players onto this graph is to pick and choose specific individual replays from that track's leaderboard, and for whatever reason you can only face them one at a time. At a glance, this whole menu system is complete nonsense, and even once you figure out what it's trying to convey, it's still incredibly tedious to manage. This isn't just poor in relation to other games' time trial leaderboards, it's a mess even compared to past Mario Kart games. The ultimate mess, of course, are Mario Kart 8's battle modes. Or I guess I should say, battle mode. Past Mario Kart games have been gradually adding more arena-based modes, like Bob-omb Blast or Shine Runners, in addition to the classic Balloon Battle. Mario Kart 8 pares things back down to just Balloon Battle, but perhaps most egregiously completely neglects to include any specific battle arenas whatsoever, opting to instead reuse normal race courses. Without actual battle arenas, the whole mode falls apart. Arena Deathmatch without the arena is a nightmare, as you have nowhere to really hide and no way to set up any ambushes. It basically turns battle mode into a worse version of a Grand Prix race. I don't know if Nintendo just didn't have enough time to include any traditional battle arenas or what, but this mode is a disaster. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know that I actually want Mario Kart to become vastly different. Mario Kart 8 proves that with just enough seemingly small changes, you can make a big difference. It dials back the random chaos just enough that all of the frustration and gritted teeth I had from Mario Kart Wii completely melt away, making me fall in love with Mario Kart all over again. If the game just had more single-player content or a better battle mode, it might actually be a contender for the aforementioned title of
The Ultimate Mario Kart.
Instead, Nintendo has chosen to give up some ground to its competition, namely in Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Pitting the two games head-to-head, feature for feature, I might still be inclined to name 2012's Sonic Racing Transformed as the better of the two kart racers. But don't take that to mean that Mario Kart 8 is a slouch. Nintendo knocked this one out of the park, and if you've already wrung all the content out of Sonic's racer, Mario Kart 8 makes for a pretty spectacular follow-up. And that wraps up another episode. I know I said this would only take a week, but geez, just recording the footage for this one took almost a week by itself. Things would undoubtedly go a lot faster if I had a better way to capture and edit video, which leads me to pose a question to you viewers out there. If I were to run a crowdfunding campaign, like a Kickstarter or something, would you be willing to chip in? If everybody who watched my videos pledged even just $1, I would probably have enough to build a brand new PC, which would mean more videos for you guys. I've had a few friends and even some family members push me in the direction of crowdfunding, but it's never easy to tell what that will mean in practical terms, so let me know what you think in the comments. You may have also noticed at the bottom that this series now has a URL attached to it. Right now it just points to the YouTube show page, but who knows, maybe one day there will be an actual website there. Either way, it is now easier than ever to tell your friends about the show. All you have to do is remember to tell them to visit BLTN.net. Anyway, I've been rambling enough as it is, so as always I want to thank you for watching and hope you subscribe so that you can see what I've got coming next. See you next time!